Alright, RPG Rules, Status Effects Tutorial 8, and we're going to have a look at conversions here. They're a single buff type that's incredibly versatile. So I'm going to have a look at the atomic boost surge first. Yep. So what a conversion does, it takes one status effect on either the caster or the target and converts it to another status effect on either the caster or the target, and in the process it may consume the source status effect. So having a look at what this one does, for every level of atomic power, which Stargirl 3000 has, she gets an energy boost small. And the number of stacks scales the power. It can work up to 8 stacks. So atomic power is a little buff she accumulates from using her energy blasts. Energy boost small gives you 10 energy back, a small energy boost there. And that was atomic boost surge. And you can get up to 80 energy back by by having 8 stacks of the thing, stack scale power there. And it has to be exact, it has to be the atomic power buff. No other buff will do. So I'll just show you how that works quickly. If we go to the player spawn, RPG rules, universe gun characters, Stargirl 3000, to drop her in the player spawn. I'll just go to her power set and make sure energy blast, we've got the right number of start powers set up. Atomic boost is there, so we want 3. Right. So every time I shoot something, I get a stack of atomic power. That's just a self effect on an energy blast. 3 stacks, 4 stacks. I'll go and waste a bit of energy. Boom. And then can do this, and we get a lot of energy back and get this. We've got another conversion giving us a short-lived damage boost as well. So yeah, that's an example of using a beneficial status effect you accumulate on a character to create another beneficial status effect. Nice. Let's have a quick look in the martial arts power set. We use a conversion for a different effect. Martial punch adds an advantage attack for 3 seconds, advantage buff to the caster, and the advantage buff is a little smallish damage and accuracy boost there. Martial kick, no, finisher kick I think it is. Finisher kick here calls advantage to finisher, and that is a conversion that takes the advantage buff from the caster, consumes it, so it removes all those damage buffs you've built up, and applies it to this finisher damage over time, with the number of stacks scaling the duration. So finisher, if we have a look at that, is damage over time that does 10 crushing damage every 0.1 seconds. So you basically get a 10 bonus damage tick for every stack of advantage you had. So it's a setup, build up and detonate kind of effect. Punch, 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 build up stacks of advantage, and then do the finisher kick to turn them all into extra damage in that way. Okay, what else have we got? Let's go to RPG rules, universe gun, characters. I want to have a look at Synergy, one of the villain characters who you can drop into the player spawn here as it happens. And he's got a kind of interesting power set. So let's see, he has psionics, has which one is it? Psionic Synergy is an aura which we'll cover in the next tutorial that does the psionic link conversion on all his targets. So everyone around him, if they have the psionic interface buff, he gains a stack of critical thinking. If they have this buff on them, which all his control powers put on, it's an invisible buff, it doesn't really do anything, he gains this critical thinking boost. So let's just play him and show you how that works. Turn on the aura. Oh, it's a permanent aura, that's right, yeah. Don't need to turn it on. Right, so for every target who he holds with his powers, you get this nice feedback visuals from the aura. He gains a stack of critical thinking. There we are, we've got 2 of them at the moment. If we run over here and get this guy held as well, hold, hold, and hold, that's giving us 3 stacks of critical thinking, triple bonus, and so on. So that's a conversion that's not consuming the effects, and it's taking status effects from the targets to the caster in that way. Yeah. Another interesting one I can show you here. If we go to Universe Gun the game, save that, and go into the Martian lab. Oops. And have a look at the red orgone pills. Right. So these are intelligence boosting pills that Princess Amtora can take to assist her with crafting. And let's go and buy some and then read the label. Just clear a bit of space for them. Activate the store. And we can buy these pills which do give you plus 10 intelligence, and they consume the red orgone boost to red orgone fever. Basically, if you eat more than 4 of them, you get stunned, thanks to a conversion. Oops. So we get 5 of them in our tray. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. We now have plus 40 intelligence. Take another one. Uh-oh, red orgone fever's kicked in. We've had too many, and we're now just staggering around stunned instead for our troubles. How did we do that? That's red orgone right, the red orgone pills give you red orgone boost, which is just a simple plus 10 intelligence stat boost. And they also give you red orgone overload, which is a conversion. What we're talking about here. So the source is red orgone boost. It consumes all of them and turns them into red orgone fever, which is a mez, which is a stun attack. And red orgone fever, right, has the caster apply condition, has red orgone 5. It only kicks in if you've got 5 stacks or more of red orgone boost on it. That was how it works. Yeah, so that's basically doing this check, and when you get more than 5 stacks, it goes and converts them all into a red orgone fever mez instead, and consumes them all. Right, I'll just make go back to the training room and just make a quick custom conversion to show you something. Training room, third person, and assets, characters, rainbow guide. We'll drop a rainbow guide back into the level. Right, so you don't actually have to turn the status effects into anything. We'll make a status a conversion called cleanse, and what it's going to do is it's going to turn flames, which is damage over time, into nothing, and it's going to consume them. apply from the caster to the caster, and we'll make a little direct power for that. Create RPG rules powers power direct, call cleansing. Oops. Cleansing. Power direct I can punch right. We'll make it do command. Make it electrical, and it will do that cleanse effect as self effect. I'll put it in effects, and we'll make the power self only of type magic. Right, so we'll drop this power into Rainbow Guy's list. Cleansing. There we go. Does he have a yellow ray twice? There we go. Not now, he doesn't. Yep. So what that does is that basically removes the flames effect whenever you use it. So we can set ourselves on fire quite easily, I think, by blowing up this oxygen capsule. No. There we go. Should be on fire now. Are we on fire? Maybe have to do this hydrogen capsule over here. Yes, we're on fire now with 16 seconds to go, but cleanse just puts that out straight away. Takes a little while for the visual effect to die down. Now, if we were to go and take another damage over time, let's undo that. Say we had a chlorine gas damage over time that we were subjecting ourselves to. Cleanse wouldn't work on that yet. What we can do is we can untick the exact box, and that means this will now remove any damage over time. Anything that's the same class of status effect as this one. So it's now basically just removing all damage over time. We could put that in the flavor text. Removes all damage over time. So that's another case of a status effect. Well, that's a special one of a status effect just removing itself and turning into nothing. And it's also using the inexact thing here, where it just removes all damage over times. So you could have one that removes all buffs, which would be a little bit general and a little bit unpredictable, or one that removes all damage shields, perhaps, to turn off force fields on an enemy. Or removes all measures, would be a good one. Yeah. And you can take this to quite complicated levels. One character who's well worth having a look at in RPG Rules Universe Gun is Rocky. So I'll just drop him in the player spawn and show you what he does. So he's a guy who can turn into this sort of super volcanic form. He's got a trigger neutron form, which only has a 50% chance of working, and a 4-second cooldown. But when he does get into neutron form, here we go, and he can do that by absorbing radiation. I'll just pause the game now, go to the game, and you can see this orange bar here, which indicates how many stacks of energy plus he's got. So that just sort of builds up more and more. You can vent some of that energy with an explosion, but it's going to keep building up. And if his bar reaches the top, if he gets 8 stacks of this, he actually explodes. He can also release some of this energy with neutron vision, which sort of treats it like an energy bar almost. That sort of consumes stacks of the extra energy buff that he's got there. So I'll just have a quick look at how these powers all work if we select Rocky and go to the neutron star power set. So his neutron matter form has 2 conversions on it. core fusion. He's going to overload in a little bit now. He's up to 7 stacks. 1 more to go. And when that happens, boom. He consumes all of them and basically explodes, taking a lot of damage. Yeah, something's gone a bit strange with his shader there. Okay, so where was I? Neutron matter form has core fusion. That is a conversion that if you've got the neutron form buff, if he's in his black rocky form, he gains an energy plus buff applied to caster, and that's it. He just gains one of them from being in neutron form every 4 seconds. That's put on a passive power with a passive power tick. That's neutron matter form. Oh, hang on, that's on core fusion, is it? Passive tick every 5 seconds that happens. We also have this one here, another conversion called overload, which only applies if you've got overload, only if you have 8 stacks of energy plus, in other words. And it turns the energy plus, consumes all stacks of that, and puts them into this overload vent status, which will cause an explosion and damage him and stun him and damage people around him and so on. So that's a couple of conversions that work there to give the effects we want. We also have some other conversions here. We've got Consume Fusion 1 and Consume Fusion 2. So when he does his vent power, making that little sort of energy explosion, that calls Consume Fusion 2, which converts up to 2 stacks, removes and consumes up to 2 stacks of energy plus, turning it into this explosion around him. The other one, Consume Fusion 1, just consumes 1 stack of energy plus, and that's the one used for his heat vision, that it applies that every frame in the maintain power. So yeah, you can do a lot with conversions. They're one of the most kind of programmery things in this toolkit here, because they can basically turn any buff into any other buff. You can limit the number of stacks converted. You can decide whether the buffs are being added or removed from the caster or the target, whether it's exact or not, and you specify the source and the result status and whether the source buffs get consumed or not. So it's one that requires quite a bit of experimentation to get right, I've found. For debugging these kind of things, you know, the little status bar with the status icons is quite invaluable, really. Yeah, so that's quite a long and complex one. That's the conversion status effect there.